Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Alicia Gogan, the host of the Glow Circus podcast, where I help you expand your mind and become more self-aware so that you can glow up into the best version of yourself. What is good, everyone? You know, today's episode is going to be something that I didn't really think too much about. It's more coming from the heart, something that's been on my mind, something that I've been thinking about. And I analyzed something last night, which really prompted me to make this episode. So, last night I went to the Cirque du Soleil, which, if you don't know, because I didn't really know what it was, it's like an acrobatic circus type of vibe show. There's a little bit of theater in it. I don't know, but it was insane, okay? Like the tricks and the talent that these people have, like there was guys who were like building huge, tall ladders of chairs, balancing on them, and then going on one hand and like lifting up into the middle of the air. Like I have accomplished nothing in my life. Like truly, there is no reason on earth that I should ever complain about going to the gym, being tired, not getting my ass up and working, because these people are talented. So just a side note, if you ever want to go to one of those, you should definitely go. I highly recommend. I had a great time. My agency had gave me some tickets and I went with my friend and it was beautiful. If you follow me on Instagram, then you would have seen a few videos that I posted. So anyways, that aside of realizing, oh my gosh, we literally complain about everything. And then you have such amazing talent. Like the thing is with theater people and people who do like Cirque du Soleil and just like acrobatics and just so many, all of these, I don't even know what they're called half the time. Like, what is it that you're doing? I don't know. And something that I will never be able to do. These people train every day for things like this. It was like, you know, the feeling that you feel when you watch Olympics, you watch like Olympic runners or whatever, swimmers, literally everyone in the Olympics. You're just like, I have accomplished nothing in my life. And these people they do train all of their lives for this one little moment. Like that's what these people were doing. And I was like, wow, amazing. So anyways, great time. But I was realizing something when I was watching one of the performances. And there was this guy and he was building a bunch of chairs one by one, going all the way basically to the top of the freaking ceiling. And he was like balancing and whatever. And at the end, he was doing an insane, like he was balancing on one hand. His legs were up in the air. Like it was insane. And we were obviously all in awe. Like everyone's so shocked. Everyone's like, whoa, you know? And the thing that I was realizing was I didn't even realize this until the last time he did a little stunt because he was building up to doing the most crazy stunt that he could do. And I really didn't realize that there was a woman who was standing on the stairs area of like where they had like the theater and everything. And she was singing and her voice was amazing. It sounded like a soundtrack out of Pocahontas or something. It was giving that vibe. And I realized, like, I looked at that situation because once I realized that she was standing there, I was like, I bet you somebody could look at the situation and be like, wow, like this whole entire time, this beautiful woman who has a beautiful voice was standing here singing the whole time and we didn't even notice her. We didn't even notice her because we were so focused on this man who was doing an amazing talent. And now old me would have looked at that and been like, wow, that's so sad. Like she's put to the side. Nobody, you know, like this is a representation of how women are viewed in society, like always put to the side. The man is in, front and center and everyone's worrying about him. And you could absolutely look at that like that, right? Of course you could. And there's many of you, I'm sure, that might still look at it like that. And I did at some point too. But I also realized there is something that is so profound because I have been really thinking, you know, what does it mean to be a woman and how powerful we are, honestly, and how we can not only move mountains, but we play such a huge role in society and where it goes. And we have such a huge influence, not only on men, but just to society and how it runs in general. And we need to really realize that. And I feel like we don't. And instead we fall into this victim mentality. And I know that there are times where we are victims and we have been in the past, like, and I don't even mean in this generation. I mean, when the feminists became feminists, there was a reason. So I don't want to throw that out. I do not want to throw that out, but you guys do know I'm I don't love the victim mentality, right? Because I just think it's very disempowering, and I want to live my life and take my power back. And I realized that observing the situation, the way that we were in awe of this man doing this talent, yes, it was him. He was the one that was on the chairs, balancing on one arm, but it wouldn't have felt so amazing and hit home and like made us feel something so impactful that we could not if it wasn't for her voice and the soundtrack that was on top of or playing in the background really of his performance. And I just sat there and I was like, wow, like some of us, I feel like this is just resembles how some of us feel in society. We feel like we're not heard and we're not there, but really and truly like our light is actually there in so many ways that not a lot of people can either see yet, or we don't see within ourselves. And instead we feel like we are completely ignored. And I think that until you actually reclaim how valuable you are, only then will people really see you. And I just think that, her voice and her power and the way that she was standing there and she kept going. Obviously, this is just this is theater. Like, this is not actually what she was trying to do. But I just looked at that like, the reason why I'm able to see her beauty and her voice and her talent and her everything is because she stood up there and she continued to sing and she continued to support and she continued to make people feel something that they could never feel on their own watching that one talent. But I feel like a lot of us women, we have something so unique to ourselves. And we stand, maybe one time in our lives, we've stood up there on the stage or something, obviously not on the stage, but somewhere in our lives. And we've had this little light and nobody's really acknowledged it. People have put it down. People have suppressed it. And so we kind of fooled with that and we fall back and we go into a corner and we run away. And it's not our fault. Of course, it's not our fault, but it's like, no one's going to see your talent or your beauty or your anything the way I saw her, unless you step out and you say, I am worthy, I am here, I have talent, I am worth something, I have something to offer. And it just brings me to something else I've been thinking about as well in life is like, I think with us women, and I'm going to bring this to relationships, I find a lot of us, especially if you have anxious attachment style, we struggle in relationships because we always put the man on the pedestal, right? We're always calibrating to his needs and his wants. When he's going to text me, when is he going to call me? When can I talk to him? Does he like me? For many reasons we do that. But I think there's always that level of like, trying to calibrate to that man. And then we kind of get jaded and we kind of get angry a little bit because we're like, I don't want to feel like I'm always calibrating to you. I want you to care about me. I want you to, put me in the spotlight. But I think sometimes we are trying to get people to see us when we don't even see ourselves, when we don't even step into our worth and we say, I am worthy of you paying attention to me. I am beautiful. I have talent. I have X, Y, and Z. And the truth is, if we were to really stand in that power, not everyone's going to conform to that. Not everyone's going to recognize the girl that was standing on the sidelines. But the ones who are healed, the ones who are really looking for that beauty, I guess, are the ones that are going to see you. The same way I saw that woman. I'm sure there's not a lot of people in the crowd, or maybe there was. Okay, obviously there was. But not every single person probably looked at her and saw, wow, like she is literally, this show wouldn't be what it is without her. And again, this is leading back to things that I've been thinking about in my own life recently. And, the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are, how important we are to people, whatever it is, these stories really do create our own reality. And listen, if you don't believe that you create your own reality, then maybe this podcast is not for you, but that is what I believe. And so when we focus on the fact that nobody's paying attention to us and nobody's giving us what we want and everyone's acting a certain way, it's not to deny that that is reality sometimes, But that does not mean that needs to be your reality. But in order for us to have people conform to us and care about us and love us and appreciate us, we seriously need to do it first. And we don't. And I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that you do, because you know what? You're going to tell yourself that you do. You're a baddie. You got this going for you. You got that going for you. You got da-da-da-da. But then you're still calibrating to a man and making sure that he likes you. And should I say this so that he likes me? Or should I do this? Or, oh, nobody really, it's the subconscious parts of you that I'm talking to right now. It's not the conscious adult self that knows, yeah, she's got it going on. She's a good girl. Da-da. We're all good girls, okay? Listen, we are. But there's something that is deeper than what we tell ourselves. And I think a way to really know what you actually subconsciously believe about yourself is your actions, because we act out of our subconscious beliefs. So, if you say that you're worthy of a healthy relationship and let's just say you're worthy of a healthy relationship, but then you do these weird behaviors and you continue to ruminate on the past and the ex, and you're creeping and you're scrolling and you're seeing if he's looking at his stories or who he followed, and talking about the situation and comparing him to new guys and all of this stuff, then you are not standing in your worth. You're just not. Because if you say, oh, no, he was bad for me, I'm better than that, but then you're still falling back into these old patterns and these old thoughts and these old behaviors, then there's something within your subconscious mind that still believes, that's still keeping you in that low self-worth that you were in when you were actually with somebody who might have not have been that good for you. And this is a hard pill to swallow for us, right? Because do we really want to take accountability for a lot of things? Sometimes it's very hard to say, maybe I'm not standing in my worth completely. And I know it's been hard for me as well, but I think that there's something so liberating about being like, you know what? Maybe I'm not standing in my worth yet. And to see the way that I act in life and the things that I'm worrying about and the people that I'm talking to and the behaviors that I'm doing, seeing how these are actually a reflection of what I believe of myself is actually can be a very empowering thing, because then you can change. Then you can change. You cannot change if you do not see yourself for who you are. If you can't look in the mirror and say, you know what? I actually don't believe that I'm worthy of a healthy relationship. I actually do believe all men are going to disappoint me. I don't think that I'm pretty. I don't think that I'm worthy. I don't think that I'm X, Y, and Z. Because when you can actually look in the mirror and say those things, then you can go a little bit further and say, why? Why do I believe that I am not worthy? Why do I believe that I have to stand on the sidelines? Why do I believe that nobody is actually going to see my worth the way that Alicia saw my worth when I was standing on stage? Why? And what you're going to find is there's many reasons, and everyone is going to be different. A lot of it has to do with parental guidance that we had, or lack thereof. Might have been a schooling system that you were in, which not very favorable to many of us. So you're not alone. Or even just the fact that you were raised maybe in a lower socioeconomic situation, status, whatever. There is going to be so many factors, traumas, things that have happened that break down your self-worth, that make you question, am I worthy? Am I worthy to be standing here on stage right now? And on top of that, me standing on stage right now, am I really contributing? Am I contributing to society? Is my voice enough? And the truth is, it is. But if you don't see that, it never will be. And that will be your reality. And it's my belief that like attracts like. And if you're in this energy of low self-worth and you're not feeling like nobody sees you, no one loves you, that's going to be your reality. You're going to continue to search for those type of people to reinforce that negative belief that you believe about yourself. And I think that a lot of us women, and I've struggled with this as well, is like understanding, well, what do I contribute to society, to life? Like, we're taught that you just have to constantly keep working and grinding and producing and doing everything. And it's like, when is it enough? How do I know I'm giving enough, doing enough? And I think that this example is, and I wish you guys were all there, but you can kind of just imagine it. There would be no show without this woman's voice. It wouldn't hit home. Okay, maybe there would be a show, but it wouldn't be as good. It would not impact lives the way that it did that night if it weren't for her voice. And I think with a lot of us, we think that we need to be the voice. We need to be the talent. We need to be the one in the back that's directing. We need to be the one who put it all together and took the tickets, and the ones that are working in the concession stand, and the ones that are doing this and that and making sure everyone is happy and safe and everyone's taking photos and everything. And the truth is, you do not need to do all of that in order to be a part of something worthy and impacting lives. And that type of thinking keeps you stuck. It will keep you stuck. It's kept me stuck, right? And I can even just bring it to like being a content creator, right? And I know a lot of you guys deal with this and you struggle with this. And I swear this is honestly the number one thing that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to doing anything, let's say on social media. People say, you know, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to do this, that. But then they have imposter syndrome. And they have imposter syndrome a lot of the times because it's like, it's really not the fact that they don't know anything. It's just they don't have confidence within themselves that they bring enough to the table, because they think, oh, no, I need to be educated in every single one of these topics that I'm speaking about. I need to have gone to school for 8-10 years. I need to have this degree and that degree, and I need to have this much life experience and that, so that I can be perfect, so people can look at me and people can just like, so I can't get in trouble. That's really what it is, at least for women. Now, there's obviously other reasons, but a main thing is like, I don't want to be in trouble. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to. And you know what? Those feelings make us feel disconnected. And honestly, it probably makes you feel like something that you felt in childhood, because that's been my situation. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be abandoned. I don't want to feel like I'm not enough, because you know why? That's how I felt in childhood. Every day when I was around somebody who didn't know how to make me feel worthy and confident within myself. And so I've learned how to protect myself from that feeling so it never happens again. And honestly, it's kind of smart. We are very smart. But we pick up these coping mechanisms that end up being counterintuitive, because now it keeps us small. Now I don't want to go on the stage and sing because I'm too afraid that maybe somebody won't like me. Even though I have something that's so beautiful within me and it would impact so many lives, I'm scared, because you know what? I know that it's not going to impact one life. There's going to be one person in there that's not going to like it, and I can't handle that, because that makes me feel like how I felt in childhood. And this is what I'm going to say to that, and something I've really had to learn. You cannot stay small because somebody might reject you, not like you, not accept you. You need to stop being afraid of that. And I know it can be difficult because you've probably been afraid in the past. Somebody might have rejected you, might have made you feel like crap, might have X, Y, and Z. But if you want to live a life of meaning, of happiness, of whatever it is that I know that you want to live, you cannot stay small. You cannot stay small. You need to be confident within yourself. You need to back yourself. You need to go for what you want in your life. And I think that what's helped me the most is to realize that you don't have to be everything to everyone. You can be great at one thing or a few things, whatever it is, and own that. You don't need to be everything for everyone. It's impossible. It won't ever happen. And you're going to waste your life if you try and do that. You really are. Because there's probably something that you really want to do in your life that, you know, you're keeping small because, I don't know, and I don't have enough confidence, and I don't know if I can do this, that, and the third. Girl, listen, I've been there. And it's gotten me, keeping small in life, it doesn't get you anywhere. And this is what I think as well. You did not come here on planet Earth, and I'll tell you this for free, honey. You did not come here on Earth to sit in the corner the way that you did when you were younger. You didn't. What happened when you were younger, or what happened whenever it happened and made you feel like this and you became small? that was just a part of your blueprint for you to work through. It's honestly, in my belief, the things that we go through, the traumas, the financial situations, the problems in our lives, these are all learning lessons. They're tests. They're things that the universe wants us to work through. Because I just don't believe, you will never convince me that we're just here to be wounded, to be unhealed, to be unhappy, to be depressed, to be sick for the rest of our lives. Why? That makes no sense to me. It makes zero sense to me. And how I've lived my life, honestly, since the age I was like really 16, where I feel like I'd had a big awakening when my dad passed away, was that's not how my life is going to go. And I'm going to start to see things as tests, as things that I can evolve and grow from. And that the biggest lesson that I had was my father passing away. And that catapulted me into so many other things, right? And my mother going through her addictions and all the wounds that came out of that. And just in general, even parents aside, society aside, you go through a process of evolution, especially if you're a woman, right? Biologically, we go through so many changes. And then on top of that, the more you heal, the more layers that you peel back on that onion, you start to realize like, oh, okay, maybe I got to go all the way back. Because when my dad passed away, actually, that was like an awakening for me. And I really like got myself together. I really needed to. And then my mom went through her thing. But even after all that, I realized, oh, he impacted me since day one. I didn't even realize his impact on me when I was 16. I just realized my dad passed away. And like, I gotta change. I got to do something with my life. Like, let's go. And so from that point on, really, when I was 16 and, all the way till now, I'm 27, I started to look at things as, okay, you know what? I've gotten a deck of cards. Some of them are great. Some of them not so great. Some of them are going to be damn hard to change. But not once am I looking at any of these cards like I can't change them. And that is how I move through life. And I think there comes a point in our time as women where we have a card. Many of us have this card. And it's this little broken girl in a way. She's broken. She's scared. She doesn't have confidence. She's broken down by society and, toxic hustle culture and survival mode. She's living in survival mode. She's doing all these things. And there's a desire somewhere in her to break free. There is, but she doesn't know how to do that. And what she tries to do in her life sometimes, which we all probably have, is, okay, well, I'm going to get somebody else to heal me, to make me feel worthy, to make me feel happy, to build me up out of this little hole that I've been put in. And on one hand, she's not wrong, because there's always going to be a level of people healing you and people loving you and people teaching you that you are amazing, right? You need that. As a child, you don't just come out of the womb. You do come out of the womb worthy, but you don't come out of the womb with like a lot of confidence until your parents give you that. And we try and find that in other people and other circumstances. But the problem with that is we don't even have that confidence within ourselves. So we sometimes attract people who are not even able to do that. Or we seek out people who are unhealthy to try and make us feel something. So there's going to come a point in time, your time, and it's happened in mine, where it has to be up to you. You have to be the one to recognize your own beauty, your own worth, your own amazingness, even when you second guess it. And go full force and say, you know what? It's almost like a level of delusion. You know when those girls are talking about delusion on TikTok? I swear, there's something to it. You have to be the one to say, I am going to decide that my needs, my wants, my talents, my beauty, my everything, it matters. And not every single person is going to see that. And I don't need everyone to see that. I'm willing to walk away when people do not see that. And I'm willing to stand in my worth and build up my own life so that I continue to be in this energy. And honestly, only then will you start to see your reality conforming to what you believe about yourself. It's not going to be somebody out there that's going to do it for you. I want to relate this back to relationships again for a moment. If you are somebody, let's say, you're talking to a guy and you feel, like I said, the calibrating to his every move and like waiting and whatever, and you start to get a little angry, start to get a little bit irritated because you're someone who, you're trying to step in your worth and you're trying to be confident and like, I deserve this treatment and I deserve that and I deserve X, Y, and Z. Girl, you do, right? But if you're getting really irritated at someone else's actions, it's really a good indicator that there's something that you are not stepping into of your own. Because why are we so obsessed with somebody else and their behavior and how they're not showing up? Why do we need them to show up? Because realistically, if you were showing up 100%, and I mean that with like a light heart because we're never going to be perfect with everything, but realistically, if you're feeling like your wants and your needs are not taken in consideration, it's really a reflection of you not taking your own wants and your needs in consideration. And I know people don't want to hear this, and it's confusing to some people sometimes. And it has been for me too, because I flip-flop back on that, right? It's like, okay, well, there's a level of making sure the person that I'm talking to does take my needs and wants in consideration. And what if that person is toxic, or what if that person is taking me for granted? That could definitely be true, right? But if you're becoming very, very frustrated with other people's behaviors all the time, you have to ask yourself the question of, well, first of all, why am I so focused on how they're not taking me in consideration? Because it really shouldn't matter if you know your own worth, if you say, I am deserving of you showing up. And I'm not going to worry about the fact that you're acting weird right now, you're pulling away, you're not texting me or whatever, because I am worthy of being shown up for. My wants and my needs matter. And it comes to this level of, well, I'm not going to calibrate to your life and your everything, because it's actually important that I calibrate to my life. And I have been calibrating to my life. And if you have really been calibrating to your life, most likely you won't feel this huge awareness of the fact that you feel like you have to calibrate to someone else's life, or you have to, like, it's always them above you type thing, It's hard. It can definitely be hard in relationships, right? Because again, there's this level of, okay, it's, first of all, it's fine to calibrate to someone else's needs and wants as long as they're doing it for you. And you're never going to be perfect with everything, especially if you have an anxious attachment. But if you are so thrown off all the time and you feel like your power is taken away from you, baby, it is not other people taking it away from you anymore. It is you taking it away from yourself. And I know it sounds kind of bad to say, but I say this in the most lovingly way. Somebody took your power away, taught you that you didn't have it, taught you that your power was useless. But now it is going to be up to you to say, my power, whatever it is about me, I am worthy. I can use it. I am important. My wants and my needs matter. And I went to my somatic therapist the other day. By the way, shout out to Rachel. If you are interested in a somatic therapist in the Toronto area, then I will leave her information and link in the description. Also, if you don't know what somatic therapy is, it's really hard to explain sometimes, but it's basically you learning how to regulate your nervous system. It's you learning how to come and drop into the body instead of being in the mind. It's especially so helpful for women. Men absolutely can do it too. Really everyone should. But we as a society, we ignore the fact that we have an emotional body. We have a nervous system. Our body tells us so much. Our body stores trauma in the body, trauma gets stored in the body, all of these things. So important to go if you can. But something that I learned from my somatic therapist that I have over the years, but recently too, because I psychoanalyze everything in my behavior, where my mind goes somewhere, where my mind is too much on one person, too much on one thing, too much on one situation. And I'm no longer in my own body, and I start to feel anxiety and I start to worry, I start to stress. And I don't want to be like that. I know it's not healthy, especially from all the work that I've done. Like, I know that's not healthy. I know it's not sustainable. I know X, Y, and Z. It's just not good. And so a practice that we went through it, and it's kind of a practice of my own. And obviously you have to kind of do it yourself. But, when you have to notice your thoughts, you have to be so self-aware. This is why the number one step of healing anything is, like, you need to be self-aware. You need to know when your mind is going somewhere, right? In order for you to change it. But when you start to get really upset about someone else's behavior, you're hyper analyzing the fact that they're pushing away or pulling away, I should say. They're saying something and you're looking into it and it's just whatever. You are no longer in your body right now. You are out of your body. Your energy is almost like seeping into the abyss, and it's scary. It's very scary. There's no containment. There's no walls. There's no borders. There's no safety. And what a lot of us women, what we actually want when we are analyzing somebody else's behavior, what do we want? We want containment. We want structure. We want to feel safe, right? Well, you're looking outside of yourself for someone else to give you that safe containment. And it's not a bad thing. Of course, we can get that. But at this point in this time, it's going to be on you. And so when you find that your mind is going and wondering whatever, you need to pull your energy back to yourself. You need to come back into the body. So it's not really about just like telling yourself, stop thinking about it, because sometimes you can't, right? But it's like coming back to your senses in a way. And I mean, I'm not a somatic therapist, so you really would have to like do this with somebody. But something that I do when I find myself, outwardly thinking about somebody or something. First of all, I step in as the adult self of myself and I say, we don't need to go there, because it's really my inner child that wants to go there, right? My inner child is trying to pick at something to confirm the negative belief that she holds about herself. So I witness when my inner child's going there, and I lovingly take her hand back to my body, literally, because she's all the way over there. Like, girl, come back, okay? Come back to the heart. You can put your hands on your heart and your stomach or your belly or whatever. Coming to the breath for a moment and just feeling your energy almost like seeping back into your body for a moment. And just sitting there and experiencing what that feels like. What does it feel like to have your energy back to yourself right now? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel scared? Because sometimes I feel a little bit scared with the presence of my energy right in the present moment, being here right now. For a lot of us, it's actually scary. A lot of us, we are addicted to the chaos. Even though we actually don't really want it, we are addicted to the chaos because that's how it always felt. Your nervous system is trying to go back to how it's always been operating. And in childhood, my nervous system was in fight or flight. I was anxious, girl. And so when I'm not anxious, it kind of feels very uncomfortable. But the more times that you train your nervous system to come back to the present, slowly bringing the energy back, feeling your body, like you touching your arms, touching your legs, reminding yourself, these are my boundaries, these are my walls, I am right here, I am contained, I am held. The more times you do that, you're training your nervous system when you get triggered to be safe, to be back with yourself. And the present moment is where all the magic happens, but it's very scary. But that's what it really means to be embodied as well. We can have profound answers from this place, this heart center, our bodies. Wisdom comes out of this, especially for us women. And when you are back within yourself, in your body, in your nervous system is not anxiously attached to somebody else. Your mind's not overthinking. When you're really in this body, this is where you take a lot of aligned action as well. Because this is what I'll say. Let's say you're analyzing someone pulling away. Your mind goes to when, why, how, where, right? And what you do is you try to correct. Your nervous system is trying to feel safe. You're trying to, but you're still in this state of fight or flight. You're very anxious, right? So you're going to now try and take action based out of anxiety. So your action might look like, okay, I'm going to double text him. I'm going to tell him that this can't be a thing and he shouldn't be saying this to me. Or you know what, tomorrow I'm going to say something and we're going to get to the whatever, But if you actually tap a little bit more into that action, and this is something that I didn't go through this same situation, but it kind of like resembled something that I was going through. And I asked myself, how does that feel for me to take action from that place? Like, okay, maybe I need to text, or I need to check up, or I need to set a day where I'm going to say this or that, or take this action. Feels very stressful still. It doesn't actually put my nervous system at ease when I think about taking action like that, or taking that specific action. And that's how I know I'm not taking the right action, and I'm not taking aligned action, and I'm not taking an action from my heart, from my body, from presence. And we are so trained to just take that action, right? Because we want to feel safe. But the thing that we're still trying to chase, this feeling of safety, it actually can come from within. If we stay with ourselves for a moment, if we sit with our inner child that is feeling like she needs to go run and double text the guy or tell him how much he's hurting her or whatever it is that she needs somebody to know so she can fix. She doesn't need to do any of that. And when you actually sit with her and you tell her, it's okay, I can see how you want to go over there right now. I know, right? You feel really, it's hurtful. We don't like that. But we don't need to change. We don't need to fix. We don't need to manipulate. We don't need to force anything. We don't need to force anything because we can actually feel safer right now, me and you, one-on-one, here in the present moment. And you will experience that your nervous system or your inner child or whatever your feeling state will be a little bit more at calm. And this is a place where you can kind of think clearly. And this is a beautiful place for you to start either taking action, which will be different than the action that you were going to take before, or just to be. And what you'll find is, and what I found even the other day when I was doing this work on myself was, I don't need to take any action. It's so interesting because 5 seconds ago, when I was in my anxious thoughts, I was like, I need to take this action, I need to do this and that, and none of it felt good. And I realized that, and I brought myself back to my center, and I just like relaxed for a moment and just sat with that emotion of feeling like I want to change everything and everyone's annoying me and no, my needs and my wants are not met and And when I sat with myself, I realized I don't need to say anything. I don't need to change anything. I don't need to manipulate anyone to do anything. And I don't need to do that because I am worthy of somebody taking me in consideration, loving me, respecting me. I deserve opportunities in my life. I trust that things are going to come to me. I trust I am safe. I am sound. I am loved. I am connected. And when you're in that place, you don't need to force. You don't need to manipulate. You don't need to fix. And what's even more profound is when you're in that energy, which is, my friends, that's feminine energy. When you're in that energy state, sometimes, I don't even want to say sometimes because most of the time, things will come to you. You become a magnet. When people say feminine energy is attracting, that's what they mean. And I think a lot of people mean that because you're calm, you're taking, if you're taking any action, you're taking very much so aligned action. You're not forcing, you're not manipulating, you're not trying to make things happen. You're trusting that things are going to come to you. You're going about your day, you're taking care of yourself, you're stepping into your confidence. You trust that you are amazing and people will value you. And the people who do not value you, they are just not for you, and you're not forcing and you're not manipulating. Everything that is meant for you will come to you because you're in the right energy. You're in your body. You are in the energy that you were supposed to be in. Now, this is not to say that you always need to be in your feminine energy and you always need to be calm and healed. Like, obviously, this is just very specific to this episode today. But I'm telling you, some profound things come out of being in that energy state. And if I think about it, nothing good has really ever come out of me taking action from a place of anxiety, of a place of my limiting thoughts telling me you're not worthy, second guess yourself, maybe it means this, you should do this, out of a place of anxiety and not trusting. So I say all that to say a few things. For one, if you feel like people are not taking your wants, your needs into consideration, or you're feeling disempowered, or you're feeling like a victim, and that's fine if you do, like honestly, like you gotta let yourself feel that, right? You need to seriously remind yourself, though, that you need to be the change. And if you're wanting that respect, if you're wanting people to know your worth and treat you well, you need to act and identify and be and embody somebody who is worth that, which means you're going to act in accordance to somebody who is respected, who is loved, who is cherished. So let me give you a quick example because I feel like a lot of you guys might be like, okay, but what would I do? Okay, let's just bring it back to let's say you're feeling like a guy who's talking to you is not taking you in consideration. A very embodied, confident woman would not, first of all, she wouldn't really pay any mind to how it is that he, like the texts he's saying or the things he's doing or not doing. She wouldn't let that become a part of her reality in terms of throwing her off her routines and how she looks at herself. She also wouldn't be entertaining somebody who's giving her the bare minimum. She would really only be answering somebody who is coming to her correct, meaning calling her the way that she deserves, FaceTiming her, the guy who is setting up the date, the guy who is moving things forward and taking action. If she's not getting that, okay, I'm not answering you. I'm not picking up at 12 o'clock. I'm not going out and drinking and getting super drunk with you. I'm not doing that. But even outside of relationships, how are you truly watering your own cup? And I mean truly, because girl, I have been there where I told myself I was watering my cup. I was working on myself. I was in a relationship with myself. Girl, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. You're only in a relationship with yourself because he wasn't texting you back. And as soon as he texts you back, you weren't in a relationship with yourself. You were in a relationship with a guy who was just living in your phone, okay? And I relate that back to guys, but really and truly it can be with whatever, right? It's like, yeah, we're working on ourselves until like something comes back into our lives and then it like recalibrates our nervous system and then we're fine. Okay, no. We're not going to live life like that anymore. I mean, truly. With or without this person, with or without this external thing that makes you feel great and whole and contributes to your life. What else do you have going for yourself? How much energy are you putting into those things as well? Are you like 5% putting into your health and your wellness? Or like 10% here and there? Let's not do that anymore. Let's not do that anymore. How do you think that you're going to feel confident, truly? Like the woman who was standing on that stage. You think she just puts 5% into her rehearsing and making sure her voice is amazing as it is? No. That girl is waking up and she's committed. She's not committed to getting a text back. She's committed to her work, her craft, her talent, her everything. This is not to be in boss babe mode and say, can't have anyone, can't have a man, can't have what I want in my life, can't live this, whatever it is that you want in your life. But I mean, truly, come on. Your friends. Do you have friends? And if you're struggling with friends, you need to learn why you struggle with having friends. And it's going to be up to you to take on that challenge to start to have better friendships in your life. You need friends. You need sisterhood. You need community. You need something going for your life. And on top of that, if you want to even look at it like this, it will transform your relationships. And I know I have been a girl. Oh my God. I used to be a girl who's like, introverted girl, like didn't have that many friends. I've always had like friends, but wasn't really that interested in having friendships or doing whatever. And I was very much so calibrated to men. And, even if these guys were good, I was a girl who was like kind of about my man, ride or die. I wasn't a pick-me type of girlfriend, but I was very much so, I would rather do things with my man, love my man, I still got that energy within me, baby, okay? I am a wife through and through. But what I realized over time was some of those behaviors are not healthy, and me not having a life, sisterhood, friendships, being in community, having things going for me, like really going for me, that affected my relationships. It really did. And on top of that, it made me become a match to other people, aka men, who also didn't have a full life. And a man who doesn't really have a full life, not healthy. Listen, you're not always going to have every cup filled, especially if you're starting a healing journey and maybe you're young and you're trying to figure things out. Okay. So I don't want you to say like you need to look for somebody who has a full life completely perfect and you need to have a full life completely perfect, but it's the action towards that. And it's going to be on you. And the reason why we don't take that action is because it's hard. It's challenging. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be uncomfortable, especially when it comes to having friendships or being in a relationship where it's not just about aesthetics and the idea of having a boyfriend, you actually getting down and communicating and learning how to communicate and letting a man see you so that you can connect deeper and to work on whatever wounds that you need to work on. It is difficult. It is not fun. It is not comfortable. Although I don't want to put that limiting belief too much into your head, because for me, I actually look at it as very fun. It's uncomfortable still when I have relationship problems, not problems, but little things that come up or little triggers. But I look at these triggers as like a game to me. Like anytime I get triggered, I'm like, oh, okay, something to work on, but not in a way of like, oh my God, you need to work on this and it's so bad and da-da. I'm like, girl, you are up leveling. You have a trigger right now. The universe is trying to tell you something, trying to teach you something. Let's go. Because I know I've proved myself so many times that when I step over this, when I overcome this, there is going to be more abundance and more beauty in my relationships, in my life, when it comes to work, money, everything. Always has been. And I want you to have that same mindset. I really, really do. So this whole entire podcast is a reminder to you that you need to start putting yourself absolutely first. The areas in your life that are lacking, that are slacking, that are, and need a little bit of work, you need to decide today, whenever it is you listen to this episode, that you are going to commit to this journey of filling up your own cup and working on the things that you need to work on. Because the truth is, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it. And listen, most people, they get forced into having to do it. That is unfortunately why a lot of people have to hit rock bottom before they change. And I've hit rock bottom in a lot of different areas of my life before I changed my eating habits, changed my health status. It was only when I got into rock bottom, when I had nerve pain in my hands that I had no answers for, when I had ulcerative colitis and I was in the hospital, when I was so financially in a muck because I was lost in my life, that I needed to get up and I needed to work. And it was a grind. It was harder because I got to that rock bottom. Although that is my whole story and that is what makes me me, we don't need to go that low. And it's very difficult to try and change somebody who is not at that rock bottom yet, but it's not impossible. And I just hope that you take it from me and take it from, whoever else you look up to online in real life. There's probably been something that they have had to work on and challenge themselves on in order to be who they are now. Whoever you look up to, whoever you want to be, you're looking at their chapter 12. Every single one of them have had a chapter 1. Maybe some of them, it wasn't that hard. Maybe it was probably easier than what you might have to go through, whatever. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you remind yourself that these are your cards and this is your blueprint. And no matter what, you can change them. You can up-level them. You can change. But it's going to be on you to tell yourself that. Because if you don't believe that you can change, if you don't believe that nobody cares about you and nobody puts your needs first and your da-da-da, that's going to be your reality. So what is it? What do you want? Because you need to decide. At some point, you need to decide, and you might as well decide now than you having to wait 10, 20, 30 years for you to decide or be forced to decide that you need to change. And in the nicest way, I don't mean like you need to change, you're so inherently wrong, but there's things that we need to work on for our own inner child, for our healing, for the life that we say that we want. And honestly, it becomes very juicy. Life becomes juicy and fun. It does. And this is coming from somebody who has been down in the dumps. I have gone through a lot. I have gone through things that are not enjoyable. So many circumstances where I've been very, very, very uncomfortable and I wanted to give up. And one of the things that I've always held in my mind, even when I was going through even the rock bottomest of bottoms, I told myself, you know what? This is a game of life. Let's do it. Let's do it. If this is what you want, you say you want this life, let's do it. So I think that's going to be it for this episode. I hope something rang true for you, something clicked, something whatever. If you, of course, want me to expand on anything else, please let me know in the comments. Leave a review if you could on Spotify or Apple as well. I'd really enjoy that because that helps other women who might be going through the same thing as you find this episode. And that's what I want. I want more of you. I want to be able to walk outside and the women that I'm meeting are like you. And I think that we need more of us in this life. And I think that the world is really going to transform when we step into our own power instead of us trying to force, manipulate, fight with things that are not even for us anyways, baby. let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let's stop trying to change everything outside of us and let's look inwards, not from a place of hate, not from a place of blame, of you did this. No, somebody did this or somebody contributed to this, but that's okay. We're going to let that go. And we're going to go on a journey of finding who it is that we are before somebody took something away from us. That's the journey that I'm on, and it's a damn good one. And I hope you enjoy yours as well. Thank you so much for watching or listening if you're on Spotify or Apple, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.